Welcome back, everyone, to the Bitcoin Business Bureau. I'm your host, yet again, Litecoin Leader. We're talking coins again. This one's going to be the free one, and soon I'm going to give out the subscriber one, but they're going to be related. So you might see some hints in here. Sorry, subscribers, but sometimes they can piece things together. So today's coin is going to be a coin that is probably one of the more controversial coins in all of crypto. It's very polarizing. You either love it or you hate it. Then there's really not much in between. What coin am I talking about? Well, if you know what it's like to throw a pebble into water, you might have a good idea of where this coin comes from and who governs it. So I'll just leave it there for now. On with the show. Let's talk about today's coin. As always, as we're playing ALTCOINopoly, I'm here to remind you about the board. We've already talked about Zone 1, which was the lower bottom part, which I'll highlight here. It started at the start square and went all the way across, and we did all the spaces on the first 9 videos. But now we're going to jump around the board, as I said I might do. So we're going to go to an area called Zone 3. Now, where is Zone 3 on the board? It is actually at the top of the board, and it's an area I call platforms. Now, platforms are types of coins that are basically coins they're blockchains. They have their own blockchain, and they allow other projects to build upon them. You can put lots of different things on those platforms, and they are essentially they're their own blockchains. They do their own thing, and they can be built upon. So they have uniqueness in that they have their own algorithms and how the coins are developed. They're not limited to like the whims of an Ethereum or a Bitcoin or a Litecoin and work on their blockchains. They're independent. So it gives you a lot of exposure to a lot of different projects that are building upon their platforms by owning the entire platform. Similar to like if you had an app in the App Store, rather than having one app in the App Store, you'd own the whole store if you own the whole platform. So today's coin is a coin that's got a lot of controversy, as I said before, and it is XRP, otherwise known as Ripple, but that's really not true because they often say XRP is Ripple, but that's not true. Ripple is the governance agency for XRP. XRP is the coin. Ripple is the governance agency that owns a lot of Ripple. So we'll talk about some of these misconceptions and misunderstandings about XRP. It's a very controversial coin, very controversial topics to talk about, but it's a coin well worth getting some exposure to, in my opinion, not financial advice. So let's dig into this particular coin and see why it gets some much needed attention and warranted as well. So there's a lot of ways to talk about Ripple and XRP, but I thought the best way to cover it would be find an article that kind of talks about all the misconceptions about both of these entities. And believe it or not, Forbes had a pretty good article that covers a lot of them. So I'm not going to cover each of these 14 misunderstandings, but I'm going to hit on a lot of them and try to dispel some of the rumors that are out there to try to explain what really exists about Ripple and XRP. So let's start at the top and work our way down. XRP is not needed. Now, this is kind of a generic title, it's kind of an eye catcher, but if you dig into the details and get past the byline here, there's 2 main products that are available from XRP, Xcurrent and Xrapid. Xcurrent is the system that challenges the SWIFT system. If you're not familiar with the SWIFT system, that's basically the system that the US dollars use. It's US dollar based, and it's used between central banks throughout most of the world that are participants in the SWIFT system to wire money back and forth. That's how most of the money moves between banks. That is where XRP gets the reputation of being a banker coin. It is created Xcurrent to compete with the SWIFT system to eliminate all the costs and all the time of transacting via the SWIFT system and all the necessary need to keep monetary reserves at all these central banks to pull liquidity out of the market. You don't need that anymore because you can just get XRP, move the XRP, and then switch it back to fiat once it gets there. So that was the main use case for XRP and why many people thought this was the banker coin, and rightly so, because banks used it for moving their money between central banks. And if you're in cryptocurrency, you pretty much oppose the whole idea of a centralized banking system. So why would you support XRP? That's the mental hurdle that a lot of people have with understanding XRP. So moving down further, pardon the scroll, I'm sorry, it's a long article. We start to talk about the next few points are about volatility. Banks won't hold it. Banks don't need to hold it. They just transact through it. So if you want to move $1 billion from the Bank of New York to Bank of London, the Bank of New York could just buy the XRP, send the XRP to the Bank of London, which would then flip it over to whatever currency they want. They could use the pound or they could use US dollars. So they wouldn't have to hold a reserve. They would just take the money that they had, the currency, the US dollar, buy Ripple, or XRP, send the XRP over, and it would transact back to the pound or the US dollar, and then it would be done. So you don't need that necessarily that liquidity to move things. Certainly the London Bank wouldn't need to hold the reserves because they'd be sent the money, especially with the electronic moving of funds today. So then we start talking about stable coins and if they're better. Stable coins and centralized banking coins are no better than digital dollars. So the system of XRP is much cheaper and more efficient to make these moves. Same point again. They just keep saying it a different way. XRP is not a real cryptocurrency. This kind of goes back to the whole SEC confrontation that's going on right now. So the SEC is challenging the way that Ripple and XRP were structured, how the coin was released, how it was originally put out there in the marketplace, and that's still not quite resolved. The next information is coming out on May 21st. I'll scroll up here. So May 21st is when there's going to be another hearing and another call that the SEC puts out. The main takeaway to talk about, though, is that the SEC is United States only. We often, as Americans, I assume most of you listening to me are American. If not, thank you. I love reaching a broader audience. But XRP is more than 90% worldwide, meaning that less than 10% of all XRP transactions or ownership is within the United States. So most of the world does not care what the SEC thinks about XRP. So now let's talk about one of the major things that people point out as a flaw, potentially, of XRP is its centralization versus decentralization. Now, there's a lot of factors that are in play here. First off, XRP uses a consensus network, not proof of work or proof of stake. Proof of work is like Bitcoin or Ethereum or Litecoin where they mine. Proof of stake is a staking or masternode type system like Divi or Dash. So XRP is different because they use consensus. Now the consensus is a positive for decentralization. So if I look at an article about the decentralized nature of XRP, you can scroll down here and there's an interesting infographic. This is a couple years old. I just wanted to give it's from 2018, but it speaks highly of the structure. At the time, Bitcoin and Ethereum probably less centralized now, but at the time of this, Bitcoin and Ethereum, a lot of the miners of Bitcoin, so four mining groups controlled over almost 60% of Bitcoin. Ethereum, 3 mining groups had almost 57% of Ethereum. So a 51% attack could happen from 3 to 4 mining pools from either of these networks. XRP, the concern was that Ripple had too much control, but Ripple only owns 7% of the validators. For validators to reach consensus on XRP, it's 80% of the validators have to make a change. That's how you'd have to make a change to the network. So a 51% attack would actually be an 80% attack for XRP, and that would be 150 validators, so that would require 120 validators to all agree to make a change. Ripple runs only 10. So this is a tick in the column for XRP being decentralized. Now the centralized vote is the fact that Ripple owns a lot of shares of XRP, which puts a lot of pressure on the ownership of the XRP coin. So there's a distinction that needs to be made between owning a lot of the coin and owning control of the network. Ripple does not have a lot of control of the network, but they have a lot of possession of the coins, as does some of the creators of the coin, which I will point out now. One moment, please. So I'm going to jump ahead a little bit to point number 9 here. Point 7 and 8 were not too consequential. I'll leave the link to the article if you want to read them. But point number 9 is about how Ripple created XRP, which they try to dispute. It's really a strange argument. But one thing that's pointed out that they created 100 million coins, and that is the cap. That is a capped coin. I'm sorry, 100 billion coins. The company owned 80 billion of them, and 3 of the creators, including Jen McCaleb, had the other 20 billion. So at the time that this was created, there were no ICOs. So this is how they launched the coins pretty much all at once. And then they put the company under the framing of OpenCoin, put over half of those 80 billion coins in escrow and announced that they would release, I think that was in 2017, they would release 1 billion coins a month until they expired. So that's basically, or they'd be all out in the market. So there is a tokenomics definition put forth by XRP to show how the population of the coins will get out into the marketplace. So it's not like that Ripple can just make more and more coins, it's that they're releasing them on a schedule, which is predefined now. So the centralization, decentralization, and market cap number of coins arguments against XRP are a little bit flawed. Moving forward to the article, we go down to just a couple of things. Ripple can print more XRP. We just talked about that's not going to happen. And then we talked about control of the network. That was pointed out in the infographic that they only own 10% of or 10 out of 150 validators. And the rest is like the price. They don't control the price. So this article does a pretty good job of laying out the misconceptions and misunderstandings about XRP and Ripple. Are both those organizations flawless? Absolutely not. Neither is the leadership of XRP or Ripple. But a lot of the controversy about this coin is based on some misconceptions that are out there. Does the coin have a use case? Yes. Could it be used for payments in currency? Yes. Could that be used incorrectly? I'll say it that way. Yes. So I think this coin has a lot of upside, and I just wanted to point out some of the truths about the coin, whether you like it or not. But there is a lot to be taken away from this coin, and some of the misconceptions may steer you away from the coin that I wanted to point out that are not necessarily the correct information. So now you have more information to make a better educated choice for your own personal financial wealth and personal financial coin selections in your own portfolio. Clearly not financial advice, but here's the information for you to make educated decisions. Time for a little charting with XRP. So we have 2 charts, XRP versus US dollars and XRP versus Bitcoin. Both of them are going to be the daily time frame. Now, if we go all the way back to December of last year, you could see how low that XRP was. It was in the 20 to 30 cent range. If you go back for all time for like last several years, that's about as low as it ever gets, around a quarter. So you could definitely see that was the upside potential back then. And you started to see like a little cup with a handle forming, and then it shot up. It clearly shot up in the April time frame when people started to think that, well, we're going to be done with the whole the SEC thing. So what's happened is like it's formed what's you could call it a flag or a pennant, where it rose up quickly from 40 cents and it hit $1.80, and now it's been kind of bouncing back and forth in this triangle. And normally when you get a flag or pennant like this shape, whenever it breaks out, might go down one more time, then come up here and then break out. If it breaks out from say $1.50 and shoots up from there, the breakout move on something like this on the pattern would lend itself towards being about as large as the flag staff of the pennant. So if you look at the measurement here, I consider this to be the flag move about 200%. So if I was conservative, I might pull that down and say maybe that's the flag, and that's more like, let's try this again. Say it's right here, 130%. So 130 to 200% from $1.50. So 130 of $1.50, that puts it about 3 1/4. 200% would put about $4.50. So that's what the chart is saying. Now, there's been a lot of people talking about XRP. A lot of intuitives have been saying $8 to $12. With the SEC settlement that may come out, obviously a major move could happen. Once it breaks the 340 mark, which is its all-time high, all bets are really off, and you go into price discovery mode. So when you clear out everybody that's ever been in XRP and you get above that $3.40 mark, it could run. It could easily run up to the $10 mark. So do not be surprised if that happens. But really, you're going to need a major event like the SEC settlement to really make that happen. So now let's take a look at the XRP BTC chart. Again, it's a daily chart. It's an interesting pattern again. I see a cup pattern pretty much forming here where we're down in the 1,000 Satoshis and then it's up to the 2,700 range. So that means another 1,700 Satoshis could be tacked on top of here, which would be not quite a double, but you can definitely see a pattern where this has upside. If I move it out to, say, a weekly chart, definitely have to scale out here. But you can see, if you go way back in time, XRP has plenty of room to run to be at an all-time high, which would be 17,000 Satoshis, where it's at 2,700 now. So you may seem like it's like, no way can this thing go up 5 or 6x. Clearly the chart says it can. So 6x from here would take it from $1.50 to $9. So an $8 to $12 range is not out of the realm of possibility when you start to talk in terms of XRP versus Bitcoin instead of XRP versus dollars. So the coin of today, XRP, governed by Ripple. I hinted at it earlier. You either love it or you hate it. There's pluses and minuses to it. Some people think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Some people can't stand it, call it the banker coin. There's many false rumors out there about it. There's like that it's uncapped, which is no longer true. It's a banker coin. Used to be, not entirely now. It's still considered a means of exchange. However, the leadership has always been questioned. There's questions from the SEC. Is it security or not? Do we know yet? The good news is that over 90% of the world that is involved in XRP is outside the United States and couldn't care less about the SEC and their decisions. Brad Garlinghouse, one of the leaders of XRP, he has a lot of ties to central banks throughout the world, which is another downside for many people with this coin. But there's a lot of rumors that this coin could see a skyrocket soon. That's why I'm covering it now and jumping around the board. I told you I might, so I am. So it does have a sister coin, which we're going to talk about on the subscriber side. I'll let you figure out which one that is. But for today, the coin is XRP. We covered the charts, we covered the news. The upside is much higher than the downside risk, even at the price point of $1.50 or so right now. It used to be very high, considering it was down around a quarter to 50 cents, and the downside was very low. But still, I've heard many people say $8, $10, $12, maybe more. And the downside risk is that it might drop from $1.50 down to a quarter again, but probably not much further. Things are looking favorable with the SEC lawsuit. Things are looking favorable in general for the market, and things are looking favorable for this coin. So not financial advice, of course, but I still believe that the upside outpaces the downside as far as a risk reward scenario. So that's the coin for today. It's XRP, and I'll see you on the subscriber side. I hope you're subscribing for the sister coin coming up soon. With all that said, I'm going to close the drawer on the bureau, and I'll see you next time.